Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in our first immigration webinar. My name is Eduardo Achurra. I'm a member of Pardini Asociados, and I have more than 20 years of experience managing immigration matters in the Republic of Panama. Today, we have decided to set up this webinar with at least the four top immigration programs that we've been assisting our large amount of clients during the last years. In particular, we have decided to look into the Friendly Nation Visa, the retiree program, which is also called Pensionado, the Person of Means programs or Self-Sufficient Fund program, and the most recent program, which is the Qualified Investor program. So, well, again, thank you for joining us. I hope that this will help you learning more about the programs and how that we may help you as your lawyers. So, as a first thing to mention, I believe that I should disclose that regardless of the immigration program that you decide to use, or at least you find interested, there are a list of documents that we call standard documents, which are mandatory for any residence application, regardless of the program. Such documents will be applicable to you based on the facts whether if you're looking to apply for yourself or if you need to include family members as your dependents. In Panama, immigration law acknowledged as a legal dependence for residency applications a principal applicant, spouse, the children, even if they are legal age children, or even the parents of the principal applicant. So in each of the cases, of course, for any legal age member, one of the most important documents is the police record. Police record must be issued by the national entity from your country of origin, basically stating that you've been a good citizen and there's no conviction at all. Nevertheless, in some occasions, based on the fact of what sort of conviction or misdemeanor you may face in your police record, there are chances that the immigration authorities allows you to even without that statement to present your residency application. But those are very specific cases that, of course, we will have to assess whether they are feasible or not to be used. Uh, so, in addition, when it comes to the United States, the FBI, the police record must be from the FBI. If you are from Canada, police record must be issued by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. As if you are from the UK, it must be from the MPCC ACRO. I hope that I have complied with the names correctly. If I'm not, I really apologize, but we manage a lot of jurisdictions, so sometimes it's kind of difficult. So again, any applicant as a standard document must provide the police record, but if you are looking to include a spouse, you must also, of course, need to validate your relation with your spouse by showing a marriage certificate, which can be in an original document or in a certified copy, which has to be stamped by a notary public. In the same case, if you got children, the birth certificate is also mandatory. And if you have your parents, then the principal applicant must show the birth certificate to, of course, again, validate the relation with its parents. For some cases, they are like if you got a legal age children around 28, 18, but no more than 25, you can still claim him as a dependent, but there are some additional requirements. Bachelor certificate, so the immigration can validate that the children is not married, and that children must also be attending a university or college in order to obtain a master degree or a university bachelor degree. So these are like the main important standard documents for any residency application. And in the event, of course, it is required that any documents that come from abroad and issued by the foreign government entity, it must be what it's called legalized, or I think that in some jurisdiction you call it validated. And this validation or legalization is provided by the nearest Panamanian consulate in your country of origin, or if your country is part of the Apostille Convention Treaty, then you can obtain this apostille in your country, and again, that will be valid in Panama. In most of the countries, the apostille is granted by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or Secretary of Foreign Affairs. It really depends on how it is called in your country. So, okay, this will be the rules for the standard documents that, regardless of the program that we're going to be mentioning today, you must bring with you regardless, as I said, of the program. So, along with the standard requirements, I also want to take a minute to explain in a basic way the process of residency application. And most of this process will take place for at least three of the programs that we are discussing today: the Friendly Nation, the Retiree Visa, which is the Pensionado, and also the Person of Means program, but not for the qualified. I'm going to leave out qualified investor program because we have some specific rules for this program. So, okay, so how is the process done? The process, first, we need to gather the specific requirements for the residency documents, such as the police record, the marriage certificates, and any other that may be applicable to your case, along with the specific requirements of your residency program. So once you have complied gathering the documents, we will, along with this, set up the specific quotation for the fees and expenses required for this matter, and also coordinate with you everything that is needed for your travel to Panama. Most of these programs, remember, we are not including qualified investor, most of these programs demands your physical presence, not only for the principal applicant, but also for its dependents. So once we meet in Panama with the required documentation, we have everything that we need. We will set up all the immigration forms, templates, and affidavits that needs to be set up, and our staff will set up the application on your behalf. You will be fully assisted all the time with our staff, so in any case, you do not need to feel uncomfortable about the situation of what to do, whether it's easy or not to do one thing or the other. So one other thing that I would like to clarify, that Panama is a quite friendly country for immigration matters. And when it comes to this topic, unlike probably some North American jurisdictions or European jurisdictions, the good news is that basically you will not be facing cumbersome or tedious interviews that sometimes could bring you nervous about whether I'm going to get approved or not. Here in Panama, it's most likely that as long as you comply with the minimum requirements, the standard requirements, as well as the specific requirements for your program, your residency will get approved. Of course, with our help and advisory, we will make sure that you comply with everything needed even before you travel to Panama. So once application is done, there is a specific time of waiting. It taking around 3 to 4 months for the residency to get approved. And during that time, of course, you will be entitled whether to travel out of Panama, or if you have made your decision to reside here, you can gladly stay because you will not have any problem with overstaying, because your status will not longer be as a tourist. You will be a resident in progress. And it means that while you wait for the residency approval, you will have a valid ID that will identify you as someone who is in process. Also, this ID entails a multiple reentry visa, so traveling in and out of Panama is more than welcome, and there's no restriction at all. So again, now I think that we can begin entering into the immigration programs that we're going to mention today. As a summary, again, is a Friendly Nation visa, the retiree, which is also known as pensionado, the person of means, also known as self-sufficient funds, and the qualified investor program. So let's start with the Friendly Nation program. The Friendly Nation program was residence a program set up by the government in 2012. The main intention of this program was to help multinational companies as well as foreign investors to travel in a more flexible and easy way to Panama and obtain a residency application in a very smooth process. So this program was recently updated in 2021, but still a very attractive way to be in Panama. So how do you comply with this program? Well, the first thing to note is that you must be part of the 50 or 51 countries that are listed as friendly nations. And if you have or hold a passport from any of these countries, then you have complied with the standard requirements of being a citizen of any of them. So anyone from this citizenship can accomplish obtaining a residency on the friendly nation as long as you set up an economical link or professional link with Panama. How do you achieve setting up an economical link with Panama? Well, there are two options up to this date. You purchase a property for $200,000 in Panama. It can be a commercial or a personal or family property, and you can even obtain a mortgage to finance the purchase of this property. And with this investment, you will be complying with the specific requirement of investment. And also another way to comply with the economical relation or link to Panama is that you set up a time deposit in a Panamanian bank for 3 years for the amount of $200,000. This must be in a Panamanian bank. And of course, it's a very safe banking system that we have. So it's nothing to be worried. It's not a payment. It will always remain as your money. So by the time that you obtain your residency, you will be entitled to keep the funds in the bank or even withdraw the deposit out or transfer it to any other country. So one special keynote about investments, and this will be applicable to this program as well as any other program. If you are a single applicant, the investment will be, as I mentioned, the minimum, $200,000. However, our immigration law states that if your application looks to include dependents such as spouse or children, you must include or add to your investment $2,000 per each of your dependents in order to comply with the minimum amount. So, as an example, if you're a parent, and you have your spouse as well as your children, in such case, it will be 200 plus 2,000 plus 2,000, giving us a total of $204,000. And again, this will be applicable to any other of the residency program. So, okay, when it comes to friendly nations, it will be the rule for economic, how to succeed getting the residency through the economic rule. However, there is also the professional link. What does the professional link means? It means that if the applicant gets employed or obtains an offer of employment by a local company in Panama, that labor contract or employment contract will validate the condition to become a resident as well. In this case, no investment is required, just having the employment contract along with the standard documents that I mentioned in the beginning. That will be sufficient enough to comply with the residency. So, okay, those are like the basic rules for the Friendly Nation programs. And now I would like to mention what are the benefits of the programs. So the benefits is that the applicant and its dependents will initially get a 2 years provisional residency. And once those 2 years provisional residence is about to expire, we, as your lawyer, will need to apply for the permanent resident status. Unfortunately, there's no way that we can skip this process. It is as the law is stated. You need to get the 2 years, and further, you can apply for permanent residency. This is not the only country that applies this rule. So, in addition to this, then you get a provisional, permanent, and also, if you are required, you may also obtain a work permit for the principal applicant and your dependents. This program also allows that after 5 years of being a permanent resident, the applicant and or its dependents are entitled to apply for citizenship as well. So these are the benefits from the Friendly Nation programs, and I'm about to enter to another program, which is the visa for retirees, or what we call pensionado. This probably is one of the oldest residency programs and one of the most successful programs in Panama, as it was created in 1987 with the intention of attracting retirees from any part of the world to bring their money to Panama and also move to Panama. As I mentioned, it was created in 1987 and perhaps is one of, we process around 80% of our immigration here for many of our clients from West Europe, as well as from Canada and the United States of America. So what are the requirements for this program? This program requires, as a minimum, that the principal applicant must be receiving a public pension for the amount of $1,000, and it must be from the Social Security Administration of the company or any government pension administration that pays such pension. If applicant has a dependent like a spouse or children, that pension must be increased at least $250 per each dependent. So again, I will bring as an example, if you're a couple and you're looking to come to Panama and move, then your pension must be of $1,250 in order to cover the couple as a resident of Panama. I just mentioned what is the public pension, but there is also the option to validate the pensionado or retiree program if you receive a private pension. In such event, the immigration law was updated in 2008, and it brings a little more requirements when it comes to private pension, but still it's a very easy process for many of our clients as long as they are receiving a pension from a pension entity, a mutual company, a bank, or an insurance company. If you are receiving such pension from any of these entities, you are okay. But in addition, you will need to provide us a certificate of good standing of this company that is paying your pension and a validated copy of a statement of account for the last 6 months of the payment pension. All these documents, as well as what I mentioned with the standard documents, are needed to be legalized through the nearest Panamanian consulate or by means of the apostille if your country is part of the apostille convention. So, benefits of the pensionado program. Well, the benefits are very good. As I said, this is one of the reasons why it's so popular. This program grants a permanent resident status from its approval. You don't have to go to the 2 years period and then to the permanent residency. Once it's approved for lifetime and no requirements to do any sort of renewal. Also, by becoming a pensionado, you are also entitled to the Panamanian senior citizen discounts, which are very attractive for many people. One of the most famous one is the 25% discount in airline tickets. It's quite effective for everybody. My mom enjoys that very much every time that we travel. So also the discounts for medicines, for doctor's appointments, for any dental procedure, or even concerts or theaters or hotels will have significantly amount of discounts based on your status of permanent residence. So this is one of the most popular benefits. But in addition, there is one that a lot of people love as well. There is a tax benefit for the car purchase, or even if you import a car, because if you show your condition of a pensionado along with the assistance of a custom broker, you can purchase a car every 2 years with import duties free. That means that a significant discount in your sale price in a vehicle will be applicable in your case. Or if you're looking to bring your car from abroad, you can also avoid having to pay any import duties for your car. So also, by moving to Panama, your household goods will be tax-free. So everything that you can bring in your container will be good because That has a special treatment by the custom authorities. And again, this will also need the help of a custom broker that we can gladly introduce you in the event that you decide to use this program. So, okay, Person of Means is basically a program that is for the purpose of people only interested to perform investment in Panama. The good news is that, as it word says, is for an investment. It does not mean any sort of payment at all. So anything that you do will remain as your property, and you will also be entitled to use this or to sell it or to do whatever business you think that is feasible for this. So what does this program requires? Well, the principal applicant must perform one of the three following options: whether to purchase real estate for the amount of $300,000, or to set up a time deposit in the Republic of Panama for $300,000 in any bank. It will be for 36 months. Or you can even do a mixed option of investments, which you can split any amount with time deposit, also purchasing a property, as long as the combination of both amounts gives you $300,000. Again, as mentioned in the previous program, any program that demands investment, if you're looking to include dependents in your application, spouse or children or even your parents, each you must need to increase the investment for $2,000 per each of your dependents. So again, as a principal applicant with spouse and children, it means that in this case, the amount of investment will have to be $304,000 in order to comply with the residency. So what are the benefits of this program? Well, this program grants you initially a 2 years provisional residency, and further, by the time that it's coming its expiration, we can apply for the permanent residency status. Also, the applicant is entitled to, and its dependents also are entitled to apply for a work permit in the Republic of Panama in order to work in any company if it's necessary. One detail that we have probably not pointed out in our presentation, but is quite important to mention, is that this program of Person of Means has a VIP office at the Immigration Authority, and they process any sort of application related to this program in around 30 days. And it does not go through the standard group of application. It goes to a special office that is quite efficient, and it has been very good during the last years. So, okay, now we're gonna enter to the one of the most recent enacted program, which is called the Qualified Investor. This program was created in 2021 after the COVID-19 pandemic. And the main intention of the program was to attract more investment to Panama in order to make sure that our economy growth as strong as possible. This program requires from the foreigner a specific investment, which can be in a real estate or in a time deposit or even in securities investment in Panama. So what it will entail for this program as a main requirement, we'll need a real estate investment, probably what you have looked in the previous presentation. It says 500,000. However, there was a special provision that even was extended, that until October 14, instead of doing an investment of $500,000 in a real estate, you can do an investment of $300,000 and will still comply with such program. We as lawyers, based on the meetings that we've been having with different authorities, we believe that such special treatment for 300,000 will remain probably for 1 year more or even more. However, this cannot be confirmed until the authorities issue a resolution stating such thing. But we are like 80% sure that the 300,000 real estate investment will remain for a little more. So you can, and this qualified investor program, as I said, you can do real estate, but also security investments. Many of our clients who have they ask us whether they can do security investment somewhere out of Panama or it has to be in Panama. Yes, it has to be local. It has to be in Panama with local companies. So any sort of investment, please bear that in mind because international portfolios will not be allowed. So the third option for a qualified investor is the bank investment or what is called time deposit. But in this case, the amount has to be for $750,000, and instead of 3 years, must be for 5 years. You are entitled to enjoy your interest, and you can collect them month by month or even at the end of the time deposit. So a key thing to mention in this program is that any of this investment that means real estate, securities, or time deposit, the minimum amount of time that they must remain is 5 years. So real estate cannot be sold before 5 years, otherwise the residency will be canceled by the authorities. Same applies for the other options. So what are the benefits and probably the reason why I did not mention during the other presentation about the process, this program? Unlike the other programs, this application can be submitted without the presence of the applicant. You can send us all the documents and we can even help you in Panama setting up your time deposit or the property purchase or your security investment. And without traveling to Panama, we can process the residency application through the immigration authorities. And once it's approved, then is the only moment where you will need to travel to Panama to finalize the process. This option is quite convenient for residents or applicants that are within the list of restricted citizenships. There are a few countries that are part of a special restricted citizenships created by our National Security Council. However, if you go through this qualified investor program, they will do a quick check of the profile, and once we get the approval by the immigration authorities, which could take around 48 hours, you will be capable of applying for this program, and even once it's duly approved, you will be travel free to Panama with no restrictions. So this is one of the main benefits of the qualified investor, which is not requiring your physical presence to perform the application. Also, this program also has set up a BIP office. It's a combined effort by the Ministry of Commerce of Panama along with the Immigration Office. It's a very nice office where things are even much better than the options that I mentioned about person of means. And they also deal with everything separately, but in a very high profile and efficient way. Another benefit which is similar to the person of means is that any application performed upon we submit the application, they guarantee that will be approved within the next 30 days or even before. So that's very convenient for any investor that needs a residency quite quick. And also, this program allows to obtain a permanent resident status in a single stage. It does not go through the 2 years provisional and then to the permanent. This is, in some way, this is similar to the pensionado program because it grants you everything in a single stage. So, okay, I know that probably a few of you have a lot of questions, and now we're gonna open to a question rounds. So, unfortunately, because of time issues, we will only be capable of answering a few of them. However, I welcome you to write me to my email address, as I will make sure that any of your inquiries will get answered so we can clarify any topic that you may have. So, okay, let's try to start with any of the inquiries. I can see here that my email address is shown, so please just pay attention to this and write me anytime you need. Okay, Diego, can you help me with any of the inquiries that you have there, please?
Yes. Thank you, everybody. We've had some great questions coming throughout the presentation, and now it's time to address them. Eduardo, I will go ahead and read out the questions for you. So question one is, once you start the process, having given you all the necessary documents, is our presence required in permanence during the 3 to 4 months residency approval period, or can we travel back and forth? Understanding that a 1 month period at the beginning seems to be required.
Okay, yeah. Uh, as I mentioned, once the application is submitted, applicant is fully entitled to travel in and out of Panama, as there will be a multiple reentry stamp visa in the immigration ID that that the applicant will receive. So just to be a little more clear about this, there is an initial travel from the applicant to Panama to perform, and these are for the program of the retirees, friendly nations, and person of means. Qualified investor, we have to keep that out, as I probably explained. It has some different rules, but with all the other three programs, of course, there is an initial travel, so we can sign all the legal documents that are required and also perform the application. And once that application is submitted, it comes the 3 to 4 months period of waiting. And during that time, applicant is entitled to go in and out of Panama as many times needed. There is nothing that forces you to be here fully permanent. I know that there are some other jurisdictions that they do not allow people to travel. Here in Panama, we are very friendly.
Excellent, Eduardo. Thank you for that. The second question would be, does your firm do legal services for purchasing real estate in Panama?
Yes, as a matter of fact, if you pay close attention to our presentation, we are Pardini and Asociados. I'm the member of Pardini Asociados, but our sister company is Business Panama. And Business Panama is a company that has several groups of services, and one of them is the Business Panama Real Estate. Here in our office, just very next to me, you can work together with one of our realtors who will help you locate the most suitable and best business or real estate option for you. So yes, we do have a real estate company duly licensed in Panama.
Thank you, Eduardo. The third question we would be moving on to would be, do you know any good and credible websites for looking for work in Panama? Not just LinkedIn, but more credible sites.
Yeah, well, in this case, there are some websites. We are not recruiters, but there are some websites that are most likely in Spanish that we can share with you, perhaps if we receive a direct email. But it's something that we can gladly give you as a complimentary help. Although we are not a recruiting company, but I think that we can provide assistance as well.
Thank you, Eduardo. And then we have one final question, which would be, in the event of another pandemic or other situation where borders are closed, would pensionado residents status be allowed into Panama if they are found outside of Panama when the borders are closed?
Yes, we have to separate what is the resident status in regards to immigration and what is our health restrictions. What happened in the pandemic, that any restriction of travel was set up by the Ministry of Health as well as the World Health Organization. So restrictions in regards of this matter was not based on the immigration status of the person. As a matter of fact, our immigration office, as they learned that many people was required to travel back to Panama, or even they were required to do some sort of residency renewal, since many of them could be outside of Panama or perhaps were having some mobility restrictions, they issue some resolutions whereby they suspend any term or any expiration, as we were making sure that we keep healthy and alive during that time.
And then those would be all our questions for today, Eduardo.
Okay. Do you have any other, Diego? Is there any other questions? I think that we
I've checked all the chat as
okay,
of
good.
right now. Those are all the questions we have.
Okay, if there is anyone who wants to bring the question, there's no bad or good questions. So I welcome you to bring at this moment. So let's see. Look, okay, let me just check. Good morning. Sometimes I have to call me. Yeah, well, as I said, anyone who requires to do a phone call or a contact, I will be more than pleased to help you. We do phone calls, email, video chats, whatever is a system that you feel that you need to use, we get into you. One of our main philosophy is to make sure that all our clients get happier with the service, and just to become a good friend of you, we like to make sure this always. That's why we've been in an office for practicing for more than 40 years. I've gladly been here for almost 17, but I've been also a lawyer for more than 20. So we are very happy with that. I welcome you based on this to contact us, and also want to take the opportunity to mention that we also want to ask you, perhaps you want to scan our QR code or to look into our chat, because we are also asking you if there are any other webinars topics that you would like to learn more. We can set up this easily, as we got so many lawyers in different fields, and we are happy just to have you here. So I guess that it is a moment where you can share with us in a very quick way what would you be interested to do in Panama or to learn about Panama. So, okay.
Eduardo,
Yeah.
pardon me. We have
Yeah.
one final question if you have
Yes,
a.
please.
Okay. So the question would be, it's going to be in Spanish. So, una persona dueña de una empresa y esta entidad es dueña de un inmueble en Panamá,
Mhm.
¿puede aplicar a la visa?
Sí, sí lo puede hacer. I'm going to answer this in Spanish and English, so everybody can be alert. The main question.
Tiene un segundo comentario,
Ah,
discúlpame.
okay.
Sería, el inmueble supera los $300,000, la persona es la única dueña de la sociedad propietaria y tiene una pregunta adyacente que sería, ¿y su esposa puede aplicar?
Sí. I'm going to answer this in Spanish and in English just to make sure that everybody gets covered. And of course, a very good question. So I do want to share this in both languages. So in Spanish first, si tienes un inmueble que está a nombre en una entidad jurídica, ya sea una sociedad o una fundación de interés privado, y el mismo supera la cantidad de $300,000, la ley perfectamente permite que la solicitud se haga para la residencia. Solamente que dependiendo de la entidad jurídica que estés utilizando, tendrá que estar perfectamente establecido que la persona sea la beneficiaria, la accionista o que sea parte de la junta directiva. Pero es perfectamente aceptable utilizar un vehículo corporativo como titular de una propiedad, incluso cubrir tanto a la persona principal como al dependiente que pueda tener dentro de su solicitud. So what I was the inquiry that I just received was that in case of the person of mean program, if the applicant hold the ownership of a property under the name of a foundation or a corporation, would that still allow the person to apply for the residency program? Yes, it can be also the same rule for the qualified investor as well as the person of means. You can hold the property under a corporate vehicle, and as long as you show evidence with our help that corporate entity or foundation is owned or controlled by you, there is no restriction by the authorities, and the residency will be capable to be obtained.
And then we have one final question, Eduardo, which would
Yeah.
be, does the professional visa for the US citizen visa fall under the friendly nations category?
Yes, we have a list of 51 countries, and the U.S. I think that was the first country to be included within that list, and after that Canada and some other of the countries. So yes, U.S. is part of the friendly nation visas.
And those would be all the questions we have for today, Eduardo. Thank you very much.
Well, excellent. Good questions. As I said, I welcome you again. That any other inquiry, you can just contact me by email, or if you need to have a quick call, more than happy to take that call. We make the proper arrangements, and we make sure that things gets solved in any case. So again, I want to thank you everybody for being here. It's a very nice experience, and very glad to at least bring part of our knowledge as well as our services. So thank you very much for your time, and I wish you a great day.
And pardon me, before all of you leave, if we can ask for your help, we have a brief link on our chat for a short survey which would help us for planning our next webinar. It's simply asking which would be the next subject that all of you would like to see. So thank you all for your time and attention. I hope you have a great day.